Welcome to GabTalks, where we provide tools, tips, and techniques to help your life and business be easier, better, and faster. Hello, hello, hello. How are you? Welcome to our next episode of GabTalks Success Tips from Experts. And today I am bringing to you an amazing expert who I got to meet in person a number of years ago. And then we've just kind of known each other through many different mutual associates and through business channels and networking. And I know this lady is super, super smart. She works with business professionals like you guys that are listening, helping you to gain clarity and helping you to get through burnout. And she is a healer and she is a podcaster. And oh my goodness, the list goes on of how amazing this lady is. So welcome to our show. Eva, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Like I mentioned, you and I met in person, gosh, like 2016, 2017.
Might even have been before that because it was around the time when I first started my business in 2011-ish.
Possibly. Yeah. And we know many mutual associates, and I love the fact that I am here doing this and I get to bring people like you who have had influence on me to the rest of the world, to our audience.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. So I know that you're an expert, and our audience would like to know all about your expertise as well.
Well, it's my own history that I avoided for many years. I was a professional and climbing the corporate ladder. And so it's about avoiding or revealing what causes burnout in professionals. So healing that's my expertise.
Absolutely. And, people who are in corporate or self-employed entrepreneurs can hit burnout really fast if we don't pay attention.
Yeah, it creeps up.
It does. I know, because I actually hit that burnout wall myself. The crazy thing, there's a graphic that I like to share. It's called A Day in the Life of an Entrepreneur. And it's literally, yeah. And I say
great
that,
one.
yeah, a day, a week, a month, a year. That's what entrepreneur is like. So we work with people like yourself to get us out of that and be more smooth.
Yeah, the energetic flow of our bodies is not a steady rise. It's like you said, and affected by multiple points of intervention, meaning you could get into a car accident on the way to work, or somebody's having a baby, or you're moving. All of those things affect our health. And regardless of your profession, those are just life happenstances.
So you mentioned that you were in corporate for many years. I believe you were in the entertainment industry, amongst others. Will you share with us about your background and your history that led you down this path?
Yeah. So for 10 years, my first 10 years out of college, which was to be an interior designer, had nothing to do with interior design. I ended up in information technology and realized that I had an technical intuitive about me that turned into, you're really good at helping people with their computer problems. When you have an individual so upset with their computer that they're ready to throw it out the window, I can turn that around and make them happy to have what they've got. So that's been very helpful. And then it moved into the construction industry. Like, okay, the new age into the stone age. That's exactly what I did, working with natural stone for architects and designers. So I did that for 16 years. Yeah.
That's an unusual combination, to be a tech person and be good with people. I come from a background that's very knowledge, clickety clack based, and I'm really good with people. So I get it. That's very unusual combination.
Yeah, it was unusual, and yet they crossed over. I lost nothing in experience because that same technical ability I used in computer world translated beautifully into the very technical aspects of what product can I use appropriately that will produce a long time of sustainability on this building, inside, outside, where is it going to go? So it had to be very technical. It's not just, is this a pretty color?
Right.
It had to be more. Yeah. So it was technical as well.
And then all of that now translates to what you do today, because the technical side of understanding people and then the human side of being able to collaborate and help people.
Yeah, well, it's not a far stretch to take a test that is very technical and then read it in the same way you would, I hate to use the word tarot cards, but I do that too. So it's like you want to be able to read what a person's results are and then apply it to them, because
Right.
we're not in the age of information anymore. People don't want more information. They want to know, how does this affect me? And so that's my gift, is being able to say, here's what you have going on. This is what we can do to fix it for you.
Absolutely. It's funny. I was just watching something the other day that super translates and relates to exactly what you just said. And I think a lot of us think that we're still in the information age, like you were saying, but you're right. Our current young adults that are coming up and their parents and other people around us, it's like all that information, the impact that it has on me, how does that translate? So before we started this interview, before we started recording, I always ask my guests about their influence and their inspiration, because I find it really fascinating, and very often it's something that I could go do and apply right away. And a lot of times our audience as well. You mentioned that you have an author that was very impactful on you. Will you share that with us?
Yeah, I have a quote, and anybody who emails me sees it at the bottom of my signature. It's by Chardin. And his quote is, "Our duty as men and women is to proceed as if limits to our ability did not exist. We are collaborators in creation."
I love that. Will you share with us what that means to you?
It has multidimensional depths that maybe even he may not have fully contemplated when writing, but isn't that interesting that we can apply it to our own? And oftentimes I hear people will say, especially in my world of working with health, we wake up one day with a new ailment and we think, well, that's it. That's who I am for the rest of my life. I'm stuck with that, feeling poorly, forever. And that will just snowball into being preserved on medications until we die. And so that's limiting. That's so limiting. And so I think about the beautiful design that we are built in with, our healing abilities within ourselves. If we just knew what to give our bodies, it would heal itself. And I think that's the limitation that I bounce off of when I hear we are limitless in our abilities of existence, and we should really embrace that. So that's what I get out of it.
I love it. I totally agree. And I think that so often we have these self-limiting beliefs. It's something we talk about as entrepreneurs all the time. So the idea of this quote that talks about being limitless is just amazing. And I think even one of the things that you do with entrepreneurs is break through those self-limiting beliefs.
Yeah, there's something very tunnel visioned about being in corporate. I was there for 25 years. You get caught up in the message and the motivations of the leaders of the business. And you want to do that while you're an employee, but sometimes it's expected of you to live, breathe, and eat and become corporate. And this is where we forget we're part of this journey. It doesn't become us. We can contribute to it, but I think there's a much bigger story that we can all contribute to in our own lives.
Absolutely. Hello, hello, awesome listener. Thank you so much for joining us today at GabTalks Success Tips from Experts. We're going to take a short break and say thank you to our sponsors. It is through the generous support of these sponsors that we are able to bring to you these amazing experts that are sharing their best tips for your success. So please listen to what our sponsors have to say, and hopefully they're going to inspire you that you're going to click their links and go support them. You've all heard and you know how powerful it is to send thank you cards, notes of appreciation, and gifts that build and maintain relationships. However, writing and sending generic impersonal greetings and gifts one by one just is so overwhelming and takes so much time. Not to mention, these days, who wants to deal with lines at the post office, running out of stamps, or having to print stamps yourself? And then there's the embarrassment of missing an important date altogether. Yikes. So what can you do? If you go to marketyourbiz.guru, You will be able to get help with your greetings and gifts that are printed, stamped, stuffed, and mailed automatically for you. Make sure that you tell them Gabriella sent you.
This is Tony Stark Polici, copywriter, marketing consultant, and author. And I have a question for you. If you could take $20 and turn it into 1,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 or 100,000, would you do it? Well, you can. And it's not through gambling. It's not investing in the stock market. It's by buying this book. That's right, my book. This was voted number 9 out of the top 100 best copywriting books ever written. And I wrote it for you, for business owners, to help you write better emails, better sales copy, better advertisement, to communicate better in all of your marketing and business communications. This book will change your business and your life. Try it. You're going to love it.
So one of the questions I like to ask our interviewees, and I am excited to hear what your answer is. If you could go back to your younger self, like when you were in college and getting out of college and wound up in a totally different career than you expected, or when you were in high school and trying to decide where you were going to go, what one piece of advice would you give yourself?
I think the biggest one is to, and I did this anyways, but I did it with a sense of trepidation and a little bit of, I'm not sure, the confidence was low. So have confidence in following your own developed instincts, whatever those are, as opposed to questioning yourself along the way and following those instincts. They'll bring you, the universe never forgets opportunity. So that's kind of where I take that to.
I think that a lot of us, I know I was somebody who did what everyone else told me to do, even though my gut said, and now today I follow my own instinct, just like you said. I wish I'd had that advice when I was younger, for sure. So I would like to ask you, if I was going to hire you or I was going to come to one of your webinars, what pieces of advice and tips for success would you start me out with?
It kind of leads, it is on the coattails of what I was just speaking of in corporate, is we forget we are an individual worthy of our own time and attention. And the number one golden thread that runs through most of my clientele, and including me at the beginning, was I didn't realize that while we have needs, right? There's the shelter, air, water, food, right? Love is part of that. And that doesn't mean to sacrifice ourselves to love others. It's self-love. Self-love is the number one key in the need that I start with. If I don't see it, you're probably not going to work with me. It's like two things that bounce off of each other. But in this case, it's going to be starting there. I want to know where you are in your journey and listening to what's wrong, what you're feeling, and let's get to the center of that. That's the key.
That's awesome. I absolutely get that. I was literally just having a conversation with somebody about that this week, and where I was versus where I am. And again, as an entrepreneur, there are days when it goes up and down, that very thing. Self-love is surprisingly challenging on some days when you're an entrepreneur. What other pieces of advice would you share with us?
It was really interesting is to follow my own intuition. I've always used intuition to build the business. And it was fun for me to observe when I had come to a place of a certain level of achievement. And I realized I wasn't going to events anymore. I was the event. So I couldn't go, oh, I'm too tired to attend that, or I'm going to do lunch with somebody else. No, I had to be there. And it was really enjoyable to watch that occur. And that's when I knew that I was really making an impact, is people wanted to hear what I had to say, wanted to hear what it was that I could do to help them with their discomfort in their bodies, and a beautiful representation.
Is there any other guidance or advice you'd like to share before we wrap up?
Be open to what's next, always. And so just when you think that you're the expert and you're like, I'm done, I'm solid, I'm crusty. in what I know, unchangeable. In other words, there's always more. I get to certain levels of education, and then the universe brings an opportunity to learn something new. Oh, I can wrap that in, or I can see where they connect. I can connect the dots for people much more clearly in ways that they hadn't seen before, and make that kind of a difference. So yeah, don't be afraid to be open to what's next. Always leave that extra room at the end of, I know all of this. Yes, you do, but now you're going to learn more.
You know what I love about that is we were literally talking about that before we started the interview, and shifting and pivoting and all of the shifts and pivots that have happened in the last couple of years. And also we were talking about people who get stuck in what they're doing. So, and it's one of the things that I myself had to learn. So I love the fact that you're talking about that and that you work with clients and teach them that as well.
But just to follow up on a previous point, people do understand that they need self-care, that they need to love themselves, but there's not a whole lot of education around how to do that. That's part of the offer, is being able to say, I'm here to help you take the guesswork out of that so you can get back to doing what it is you do best.
Exactly. That's amazing. And I think I didn't think of it in that way before, because you're right. There's a lot of you need to, but there's really not a lot of guidance on how to. On each episode of GabTalks Success Tips from Experts, we like to highlight a hero sponsor who is a business that chooses to highlight a do-good organization in their own community that is bettering the world. Today's hero sponsor is...
Hello world, this is Z, or you can call me Mr. Z. I am a web developer and I am also a consultant from Z World Webs. Today I want to highlight Nancy's House, because Nancy's House is a nonprofit organization that breaks the isolation and exhaustion that can come with taking care of someone who is chronically ill or disabled. Nancy's House also builds a community of support and offers self-care skills with 1 and 3 day in-person respite retreats, online workshops, and much more. To learn more about Nancy's House, please visit their website at www.nancys-house.org. The link can be found in the show notes. So with that being said, my name is Z from Z World Webs, and let's develop a website Z World is waiting for.
So speaking of, that's exactly what you teach people and guide people. You have a podcast, you have your workshops that you teach, and you also do one-on-one. How can someone reach out to you?
Yeah, the best way to find me is on the web, and that's the website, theelevateinstitute.com. Yeah, you can also find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. I'm the only Eva Vennari in the world.
That's awesome. That's very unique. So Eva, I know you have a really, really cool offer. Will you share that with us?
Yeah, if you venture to that website, theelevateinstitute.com, you're going to find, before you start to scroll or as you start to scroll, a button, and it says reveal what's hiding in plain sight. And it's an offer for a free Chinese face reading. So if you upload your selfie, take your makeup off, both men and women, take your makeup off, give me yourself, and I'll put my eyes on your face and we'll look at what possibly could be serious illnesses in liver, heart, kidney, spleen, and even if you're living in your purpose.
That's really cool. Oh my gosh. I'm going to have to go do that. I think I did that with you a long, long time ago. And, you know, our faces change as we age. And so I'm going to go do that again. Absolutely. So you guys, click those links, go get yourself your own personalized face reading. That's really cool. Make sure you reach out to Eva. She's got tons of great content. Again, she has her own podcast, so go listen to that. You're going to learn so much, and reach out to her. Don't forget to click the subscribe button and set your reminders so that you know when our next episode is airing. Hey, thanks so much for watching. We hope you got value today. We want to give a huge shout out of gratitude to our contributors. Please make sure you click the subscribe button below, and don't forget to click the bell up above to get reminders when we add new content.